Okay, so this is part 3 of your journeys on the streets of St Kilda. Recapping a little, once you left home at the age of 16, and you were talking about the people that you met, the characters that helped you most of the time, and the ones that weren't so favourable. Do you remember where you learnt how to get food and all the rest of it?
Yeah, I did, because as I was telling people before on my other one, that when I joined up with the Skins, I hanged around with a good friend of mine that I made down there, and he showed me the ropes. He showed me which churches to go to get whatever food, and you just learn the ropes, like this church we used to go to gave you pies and pasties at 6 o'clock at night, and you had to be there by 6 or you missed out. So that's, yeah.
Do you remember any of the people that really stuck to your heart, helping out in those days, those difficult times?
Yeah, there was one bloke that I joined up with the Skins with. His nickname was Bam Bam, and his girlfriend was named Pebbles. Well, them two, they were special people, because they used to always look after me and tell me what to do on the streets and how to do it. And we used to hang around, not just there, we used to hang around the Flinders Street steps too, together as a group.
When you say you hung around the Flinders Street steps, what did you do? Just pass the time? Or?
Well, we just sat there. We talked to more homeless people or more Skins. The Skins back in the 70s, the Skins and the punks, they used to hang around the city.
Why was that, do you think?
I don't know, that was just a place that everyone would hang around. It wasn't just for unhomeless people, it was for everyone.
Probably a lot more excitement other than any other place, is that right?
Yeah, it was like St Kilda. After a certain time, it had that bling about it,
Yeah, a lot of nightlife and characters come out after.
Oh, a lot of characters there, a lot that we got along with, a lot we didn't get along with.
Tell me, Ray, were there any underworld figures that you bumped into?
Look, I bumped into Chopper Reed, but that was years ago. I was too young back then to realise who he was.
So nothing ever came of that?
No. He just said, "I'm Mark Chopper Reed, how you going? Where are you from?" I just said, "I'm from Thomastown." He asked me, "What are you doing with the Skins?" And I said, "Oh, we're skinheads, we've got nowhere to live," and basically he wasn't interested in us, so yeah.
That might have been a good thing. So, after your time in St Kilda, when did you actually make your mind up to move on?
Well, I got sick of the coppers always yelling at me and screaming at me and, telling me this and that and this and that. Piss off, get out of St Kilda. After a while you get sick of it, You can only put up, like I spent 4 years in St Kilda, and that was a long time to put up with everyone's different mood swings. You got the police that didn't like you. You got people that didn't like you. You got fights every night time, and people getting drunk and taking drugs, and
so a lot of disrespect from many of the public.
Yeah, a lot. But back them days in the main drag of St Kilda, most of the people that owned the fish and chip shop, if you weren't disrespectful to them, they would, at the end of the day when they were closing the shop, they'd bang on it. If you were lucky to be standing outside the shop, they would tell you when they're going to close, and they'd give you hot food to eat, and I got onto that right.
Kind people.
Yeah. I learned if you got there about 1 o'clock in the morning and you weren't rude to these blokes, they get to know your face, and they'd say, "If you turn up here, I can give you some hot food," and we appreciated it. That was better than $1 million,
When you decided to move on to somewhere else, did you go by yourself or did you have help?
No, I went with a good mate. As I said in the other blog, I befriended this guy, and he showed me the ropes, and he got sick of St Kilda too. All the fights we got into, all the stabbings that went on. We had enough. We said, "Let's travel," and I said, "Oh, well, where do you want to go?" He goes, "Let's go up and spend a bit of time in Sydney."
And you did that, yeah?
Yeah, we did that. We made our ways to the Hume Highway, and we put out our fun, and we hitched a ride up.
Oh, so you hitchhiked?
Yeah, that was interesting.
How did that go? Tell us a bit about your hitchhiking.
We hitchhiked to they'd only say, "Oh, yeah, we can only take you to a certain point," and we hitchhiked through. Back in those days, it was very dangerous to hitchhike too, but they took a look at one of to me mate, and he had a no-nonsense look about him, and they took a look at me. We eventually got to where we were going. That was Sydney.
Very lucky.
It was called Sydney's King's Cross.
Oh, the famous King's Cross.
And that just reminded us about St Kilda.
So was it very similar to St Kilda or bigger?
No, it was more bigger and better. It was more...
Better or badder?
It was, well, you could say better. There was more light. There was more action going on there.
Yeah. And so you finally reached King's Cross?
Yeah.
Did you go your separate ways or did you stay together?
We hung around King's Cross and we did the same thing. We went to find out where you got food from out of all the different organisations, and we went to the traps. We went to different places, got food, and we spent about a year and a half in Sydney.
Did you find somewhere to live there?
No,
or
we didn't. We call them squats back in my day. We'd just go into an old broken down house and camp it.
No problems from the police?
No, not really, because they were more interested in the big fish. They didn't give a shit about us street kids.
Wow.
Only time the police would take interest if you were stupid and you smart mouthed them, then you'd be in big shit.
Any unfortunate moments at King's Cross or living around there?
We kept our nose out of it. We were more into it just by
surviving
and minding our own business, and that was about it.
Did you manage to get work around that area?
No, we didn't, but we used to hang around with some strippers
and they helped you out?
Yeah, they gave us some food and money and all that.
Fantastic. And so, how long did you stay at King's Cross?
A year and a half, and then we got sick of it and we moved on.
Where did you go to then?
Well, we started travelling around Australia, thumbing it. We were only young, don't forget.
You're lucky you didn't bump into any Ivan Malats.
Well, Ivan Malat was around when we were hitchhiking, and we looked at each other and thought, we met some real
weirdos.
Yeah, we got a lift with one army bloke, and he picked us up at Melbourne, and he was going to Puckapunyal, and on the way to Puckapunyal, he stopped and out the window and let a couple of arrows go out the window.
Oh my God, positive arrows, yeah?
Yeah, we got very scared. We said, well, you can drop us off just up there. Thanks,
You're lucky he dropped you off.
Yeah, he dropped us off, and then we got another lift, and yeah.
So you never got to see the inside of his boot?
No.
Thank goodness.
Yeah,
so tell me, what happened after that?
Well, we got sick of that, and we eventually come back to St Kilda again.
What, thumbing it again?
Yeah, back to St Kilda, back to the same bullshit again, back to the same routine.
And how long were you living in St Kilda for at that point?
We come back for a couple of months and we got sick of it, and I said to him, mate, we're back in the same shit again. We're hanging around with the punks and getting drunk and getting into trouble and living it hard. And I just said to him, mate, there's got to be a better life than this. And he said, you know what, we can go around Australia just with our fun and our dole. It was called dole money back then.
Was it difficult getting unemployment benefits or the dole when you travelled around, or how did that work?
No, you just had to write down jobs. We went for job interviews, but looking like we didn't get many proper jobs back in the day, and we lived on like $70 to $80 a fortnight, which wasn't much back in those days.
No, did you spend a lot of it on alcohol?
Yeah, most of it was on alcohol because we knew we could just go up to someone and say, listen, can we get a feed here?
Did you ever want to stop the alcohol at some point, but you just kind of hung around the wrong people at the wrong time and continued?
Yeah, I did. I did want to give up the alcohol when I was young, but unfortunately I was hanging around with the wrong crowd and...
it continued.
That's right, I was more fool to myself.
So what happened after that, Ray? Did you
well,
go separate ways?
Yeah, no, we went to the Hume Highway and he was going down a different track in life and I was going down a different track. Time's going on, you're getting older and older by the day. And I was going up the Hume Highway and I looked at him and I said, hey, we could get a job there with the circus. There was a circus in town and I said to him, just mucking around, let's go and ask them for a job. And I said, nah, they're not going to employ us.
And what happened?
Well, I went across the road and because I talk a lot, and I'm a friendly sort of a bloke until you upset me. And I said, is there any jobs here? And he said, yeah, there is. How many blokes you got? I said, oh, it's only me and my mate.
And so you had an interview and they...
Yeah, no, I said to him, hang on a minute, I'll go and get me mate. He said, well, we're hitchhiking to Sydney. I'll just go and tell him. So I walked across the U highway. I told me mate. My mate goes, nah, I'm not interested in working for the circus, man. If you want to go, you go.
So he went his separate way. And
so I shook his hand and wished him all the best and said, we'll catch up some other time. I walked across the road and joined up with the circus as a circus hand.
Incredible. Ran away from home and joined the circus.
Yeah.
So what happened then?
It didn't last long. I got, like, they went from town to town to town. You had to put up the tent and you had to fill the whole tent in full of seats. And by the time they put the tent up, it was 8 o'clock at night, and then you had to get ready for all the people coming to visit the circus.
So a lot of hard work.
Oh, yeah, very hard work. And don't forget, I was only 16. I was very young and very immature, so I wasn't built like a brick shit
Well,
house.
you would have been about 17 or 18 at that stage, because you'd already been on the streets since 16.
That's right. So I ended up getting with them, and then they went to Coffs Harbour, and we went all over Australia until I got sick of it.
Wow. Did you ever become a part of their act at some point?
No.
You worked behind the scenes.
I was a circus hand. They had all that tied up. There was people that rode horses. There was people that juggled. You know, I was employed just as a lackey.
Was it enjoyable at the time?
It was until the boss started feeding us peanut butter sandwiches and shit food. Then I really got dark, you know.
So when did you decide to move on?
Well, we went from Melbourne as I walked across the road and we got a job. They went from all different places. They went to Coffs Harbour, then they went to a couple of other different towns. We got to a town called Dubbo, and then we went from Dubbo, and this would take like a good couple of hours in between to get to these different places and set the circus up. We got to Coffs Harbour, and then we went to Dubbo, and I pulled the pin at Dubbo.
And you made your way around the town there and looked for more work, or?
Yeah, I did, after I told the boss that he could stick his job up his ass because he was disrespectful to me. And he said, you won't get another job, good luck, see you later.
And what happened then?
Well, I was back to no food, no money, no clean clothes, and no one wanted to talk to me because I was scruffed.
So how did you get yourself out of this situation?
Well, I went back to Melbourne and ended up living on the streets again.
You thumbed a ride back, or did you catch a train?
I thumbed a ride back, and I was just,
Well, we end it right there now, and continue on the next video. Thanks, Ray.